Church, when I found out that all the remaining couples this season said yes on decision day, my first and honest response was, bitch, what? I got my notes. I hope y'all got yours. Let's get on into this damn mess. All right, y'all, so let's jump right on into our hot topic. So first and foremost, they all said yes. Now, baby, listen, my decision day surprise was ruined for me by my mother last night, y'all, because she texted me and she said, this is a first. They all said yes. And I said, no. But my no was twofold. No. On one hand, I was mad because I didn't guess correctly in terms of who would stay together and who wouldn't. And on the second hand, I was pissed because the fun of decision day is watching the episode and assessing the build up and trying to figure out will they or won't they stay together, right? So I felt that was a little bit robbed from me, but it's okay. Mama didn't know that I basically record the episode because I hate commercials, and I usually fast forward through it so I get through the episode easier. A 2-hour show then becomes pretty much an hour and 20 minutes. I ain't got time to waste, and so I just like to get to the point of the episode really quickly, sans the commercials. But it's all right. Like I said, I still found the episode rewarding. Now, moving on to our second hot topic, let's get into the reemergence of Chris and Alyssa. Now, y'all, when the couples at the end of the episode came back together for their reunion to find out who stayed together and who didn't, it was really nice to see Chris and Alyssa because, first off, I didn't expect them to be there, right? I think that sometimes what they do in terms of decision day when the couples or when certain couples decide to get divorced earlier in the process, sometimes they bring them in for the decision day breakdown in terms of the review of it. What did you think about it? Final last thoughts. But because Chris and Alyssa weren't included in that forum, I thought, well, I guess they're not going to be included in the episode and we'll just see them in the reunion. But it was very nice to see them, at the rooftop place with the other couples, okay? And first and foremost, they both look good, okay? And you can just sense the levity in Chris, the increased confidence and the fact that he's gone on to bigger and better in his life, seemingly, right? Now, don't get me wrong, Alyssa looks good too, but for me, Alyssa always reminds me of a anticlimactic Christmas present, okay? Beautiful on the outside, beautiful wrapper, beautiful bow, but you open it up and you find out there's nothing in there but socks, right? So listen, Mama looks good. We can never take that away from her, but until she does some serious introspection and soul searching, I think she's always going to find herself where she's always found herself, which is likely alone, right? Now, moving on into our general couple updates, let's get into decision day and talk about Katina and Olajuwon. So for me, y'all, I wrote down that this was a dysfunctional match. No surprise there. And I said this is a match solely based on emotion, right? For me, I like to make logical decisions, right? I'm an analytical thinker. I'm always thinking 10 steps ahead. And for me, the Katina and Olajuwon decision really came down to the emotional aspect of it. As I told y'all before, she is Miss Fix-It. She always wants to see the good in people. She always wants to find a solution to move forward, right? And he's Mr. Militaristic, my way or no way. I want a traditional wife. I'm going to keep creating, finish lines, and you have to keep meeting my expectations, right? So logically, I would not have thought that they would stay together, but I think that what I realized or what I failed to realize is that, listen, some couples thrive on dysfunction, okay? I think we all know of a couple that we don't like to get involved in their business because we would stay mad while they Tootsie Roll off and be happy, okay? I cannot personally be friends with the Katina and Olajuwon couple because I don't want y'all coming to me telling me about your drama and then I'm sitting over here mad and the next week y'all Tootsie Rolling off happy. It's not going to work for me, okay? But if the dysfunction works for y'all, then so be it. I think a lot of things have to be figured out in terms of how they want their life set up, in terms of, the things that Katina wants to accomplish before she becomes a mother, the things that Olajuwon wants in his life in terms of the traditional wife, the whole cooking aspect, the whole traveling aspect. But I think that, Intention is really important, okay? So if they are making a conscientious decision to figure out their problems, then I wish them all the luck in the world, right? Despite what I may think about it, people have free will and they're able to make their own decisions. And so if they see that their lives are more enriched with each other in it, despite all of the misgivings that, happen between them, then all I can say is Godspeed, and I pretty much hope it works out. So moving on from there. Actually, no, before we go off, let's talk about the fact that they said yes on decision day before even having sex, okay? I was actually really touched by when Olajuwon was kind of going into the reasons as to why he didn't want to have sex before decision day, and he sort of framed it in the way of, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten, right? And so he's led with his body first, and that hasn't worked out for him. So he wanted to try this experiment on a different basis. So I can resonate with that and I can understand it. So I'm glad that post-decision day, they consummated the marriage and everything was fine and it was, worth the wait. But I don't know for me if I would have been able to pretty much say yes on decision day without having tested out the goods. But that is just me, and I'm a little bit ratchet. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know if you could say yes on decision day without pretty much taking the present out the damn wrapper. Moving on to Jasmina and Michael. So for them, y'all, I wrote that the match was based solely on potential because they, like Katina and Olajuwon, had no sex. But I don't think that was their main problem. I think their main problem was the lack of romantic connection, right? And so for them both to say yes on decision day, it's pretty much saying, I know that we've had our rocky roads. I know that we're building this great friendship, but I believe that if we continue down this road, perhaps we can find the romantic feelings. Once again, it's not really a decision based in logic to me, because if I don't have those romantic feelings, I can't proceed forward, right? And I think what leads a bit of credence to the I don't know if they will actually work out is that post-decision day, they don't intend to live with each other. And so their decision seems to really be based on, let's see what the relationship holds without the married at first sight experiment, without the pressure of the cameras, the production, etc. And let's see if this relationship has legs. I don't know if that mindset and that, decision will pan out correctly, because to me, if you don't have the basis of it, I don't know how you can improve upon it. Listen, if we're not kissing on the regular, we're not touching on the regular, we're not, having sex at all, or even having those, Michael's having those emotions in terms of wanting that with Jasmina, but Jasmina seems to still be on the fence. I don't know if I could have said yes on decision day to potential alone, right? But we've seen in the past that, sometimes it works out when people decide to say yes on potential. And when you take the pressure of the cameras and the experiment out of it, sometimes things can work in a better fashion. So I wish them complete luck. I don't necessarily have a good optimistic sense of how this is going to work out, but my whole thing about saying yes on decision day when you're not sure is that I hope that it's not a swift yes on decision day for an even swifter yes to end the marriage later, right? And that's my fear in terms of people not taking the whole summation of the experiment of your time together into account and making a decision based on the evidence that has been shown, right? So good luck to them, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Now, moving on to Lindsey and Mark, y'all, it seems to be a match based on it can't get any worse. Listen, if there's a couple that's been, tried in this damn situation, it's Lindsey and Mark. All of these stress, struggles, and strife that they've gone through over the past 8 weeks have made them stronger in some areas, weaker in other areas, but they always get back to each other, find their way back to each other, and try to move forward in a constructive way most times, right? And so it's a match based on, if we've already been through all of this, then technically the goodness should be around the corner, right? But, remember the old saying, y'all, we make plans and God laughs, okay? So logically, I don't understand why they stayed together, to be completely honest. It seems like on some respects, it's always a one-sided situation with Lindsey and Mark, right? Lindsey can dish it out, but she can't take it. Everything is sort of centered around it being Mark's fault. It's what Mark's not doing for her, but there's no level of introspection in terms of what she brings to the relationship in terms of dysfunction and how she handles things in a way that kind of makes the situation worse sometimes, right? And so I think Mark is kind of just taking the basis of you can be right or you can be married, so he doesn't try to ruffle the feathers of the situation. But that's what kind of leads to all of the, big ups and low downs and all that other stuff. So I don't know about the longevity of this relationship either, but like I said before with the other couples, intention is very important, okay? And sometimes people thrive in dysfunction. So if she makes your heart move with all of her ups and downs and conflating anger and sadness and doesn't know how she's going to be from moment to moment, and you like the excitement that brings to your life, as well as her being someone who is a rider for you. She's down for the cause. She's down to help you through your issues, and she's always trying to find helpful solutions to your problems. Then that's wonderful on the Mark side. And if on the Lindsey side, if he's a stable force and a calming force that can kind of bring you down a little bit in terms of not being so amplified all the time, and he's a kind person and he's what you need in terms of your life right now, then as far as I'm concerned, great for the both of you, okay? Once again, like I told y'all, I make decisions based on logic and analytics, okay? And I think sometimes it's difficult for me to add the emotional aspect into it as well, because you also have to talk about the fact that people want to be together and they want to try, okay? Humans are not meant to be alone. Like, they're meant to be communal. They're meant to find somebody to build a life together and move forward with that, whatever that means. It doesn't have to be marriage. It could just be, just a situation where you're boyfriend, girlfriend, or boyfriend, or hell, whatever the damn rainbow holds for you. But if you found somebody that you want to face life with, then I think that that's wonderful. I would just hope that you're being cognizant of not brushing all the problems underneath the rug and hoping that around the corner everything will pretty much get fixed and you'll be able to move past it. Now, moving on to Steve and Noi, y'all. Now, Steve and Noi were my most touching couple this episode. I found me really gravitating to their story, really marveling at how far that they've come and how far in particular that Noi has come in terms of what she wanted in the beginning of the season and where she ended up by the end of it, right? And so I wrote down that their match is based on trust and her willingness to evolve, right? As I told y'all before, Steve represents everything that Noi is scared of in life, right? Being without a job, being a free spirit, and being okay with, not necessarily having a plan in terms of how you're going to move forward with your life. So he's the trifecta of everything that scares her in life. And I think that their decision to move forward on decision day is solely based on a trust situation and a willingness to evolve on Noi's part. They always say that you're never going to get 100% of what you want in any situation, right? And marriage is included in that fray as well, right? If you can find somebody with the least amount of manageable problems, they're probably the right person for you, right? Intention is important, willingness is important, and I think that her being able to evolve from what she viewed as security, right, in terms of a 40-hour work week. Security can look a lot of different ways, right? And especially in this day and age, just because you're not working a 40-hour-a-week job does not mean that you're broke, okay? And Steve is kind of the true and present representation of that, okay? He seems to have savings, he seems to have a good head on his shoulders, and he seems to have the ability to make money in the event that he wants to make it, right? And more than anything, he seems to be a good budgeter, because nobody can buy a diamond, like that in terms of an engagement ring, in terms of something so beautiful and probably very costly without having some assets in the bank and some forward thinking in terms of planning, right? So I think if nothing else, the ring kind of shows Noi where Steve's mind is, where Steve's budget is, and kind of what his intentions are for her in the relationship going forward. An engagement is kind of a sign of a promise of what's to come. And I think Steve knocked it out the park with that engagement ring, as well as how he's treated Noi throughout this time. Right now, on the Steve side, his reluctance with Noi was really based on how she approaches conflicts, right? How she approaches not getting along, not always having to leave when you don't get your way, not always having to shut down, and not always having to resort to social media to air out your grievances when you can talk to your husband, right? But as I've said before, Steve is a free spirit, okay? And so he can pretty much go along with the wind, which has its benefits and also has its consequences in some area. But I think he was best suited to deal with Noi and her ups and downs in this scenario, right? Because he kind of acquiesced to what she wanted while also putting forth himself in the process and not losing himself in the process. So, I think it's a beautiful story. And I think as long as she's still able to stay open-minded and evolve what it means to be in a relationship and secure, and not let her refugee past, dictate how her future is going to be set up, I think it will be fine. And as long as Steve keeps budgeting appropriately, keeping a nest egg of money, on the side, and is able to show her that he can freelance, make money, and be a contributing member to their family, I think that they can definitely go the distance. So good job for Steve and Noi, and good job in terms of growth over the 8 weeks. So anywho, y'all, I think that's all I really wanted to say about this episode. So if you liked what I said, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all social media at DatDamnDasher. And until next time, y'all, let's find out how these couples truly fared. Bring on the reunion. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.